All right, everybody, it's your boy Genius. Got the Kimber 2K11 stainless target OR. Beautiful, beautiful firearm on the table today. Doing something that I absolutely hate doing, and that is how-to videos or tabletops. I absolutely hate doing them because, I feel like everyone, being an old fudge, you can read the instruction manual and you can figure out how to do it yourself. But granted, this one is a little bit different than most, so I thought, well, a good how-to video would probably be beneficial for some of my viewers that may purchase this firearm. Before we get started, as always, just want to extend an invitation to know Jesus Christ as your Savior. If you do not know where you will spend eternity, if you were to pass on this very evening, let's take care of that today. Today is a day of salvation. Reach out to me in the comments section or gsquaredtactical@gmail.com and allow me to share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ with you. All right, so what do I mean by it being kind of different, untraditional? Well, this entire rear sight here, adjustable rear sight for windage and elevation, is basically your cover plate. So on a traditional pistol that is optic ready, you'll see one or two screws kind of side by side, maybe front to back from one another. That is pretty straightforward. Take them off, cover plate comes off. Generally the rear sight will stay and you mount your optic on there. A lot of times flush mount. If it comes with a plate anyway, it's still mostly straightforward. As you can see here, there are no such screws. The only screws you see is the adjustment screw that is on top. So what you will need for this job is you will need the plate, obviously, the CNH plate that came in the packaging with the gun for the RMR footprint. You will need that. Take that out of the packaging, set it on the table. You will need your S7 T-nut, also identified on the front of the packaging. That is included with the firearm. You will also need the 4 T10, it's a T10 hex screws to mount your plate to the slide. And you say, well, Gene, there are 2 other packs of screws in the packaging. Which ones do I use? Well, the 2 other packs only come with 3 in each one of the packs. This one's the only one with 4, so I'd say do the math and common sense. The package with 4 in it will be the one that you would use. Okay, 564 Allen tool, okay, hex head. I'm using this because I'm an old fud. You can use this, came out of my fix-it sticks. I hate these things. 5/64 again. You can use this if you want to, if it's what you have available, but I've had so many things round off with these things, I don't like them. I feel as though this here gets deeper into the hole and you have more control over it, and you can feel if something's not quite right, or at least I can anyway. So I'm using this is what I'm using. Need a T10 Torx bit as well, a flat head for your screwdriver. I'm using my Wheeler Torx screwdriver here is what I'm going to be using, because we will be torquing these screws that hold the plate into place to 20-inch pounds. Okay, so let's just get started. Get right into it, if you will. Now, I have loosened these screws up for the sake of the review. Okay, I will say that. And you want to try to find a flat head that fits super tight, like maybe even have to force it down in that slit a little bit so that you don't booger it up. Nothing worse than old boogered up flathead screw that you've kind of pulled out of it. It slipped out of there and just boogered up your. Now you don't want to do that. So now when you start, you'll think to yourself, like, I'm not supposed to be doing this because this screw will be kind of tight. You're like, man, am I supposed to be doing this? This don't seem right. But yes, keep on. I assure you it will be fine. What I do is I depress the rear of this sight here, depress it and hold it all the way down. Again, this screw will be mostly all the way down. I have loosened it for the sake of the review to kind of shorten it up, but you will want to simply remove entirely all the way out this flathead adjustment screw in your in your sight. Screw completely out, okay? You want to allow this to come up slowly. There are 2 springs in here that obviously keeps tension on the sight so that when you adjust it up, it holds that tension, okay? It does have some kind of crud. I don't know if it's Loctite. I'm sure it's something to help retain those springs in those holes. I'm not really sure. They never did come out of there, but it is recommended that you remove them, and they easily just pull right out. As you can see, kind of lay those 2 springs to the side. Certainly do not want to lose them, because even though they're in your house, you never will find them, okay? Underneath there, you will find your 2 screws that is holding the rear sight to the slide, and that is where your 5/64 comes in. And again, I have already loosened these. They were tight, but they were not, so I wasn't sitting here shaking trying to get it off. I mean, they broke loose fairly well, okay? Was not difficult at all. So you want to remove these. They're both fairly short. It's only 4 or 5 turns and they pop on out of there. They do have Loctite on them, and they have been scratched across them. It looks kind of, I guess, so you can look at it and tell if they have moved, okay? But either way, just take both of these screws out of here. Once you do that, this rear sight will just pull right off of there, and you're just left with a flush slide, okay? That's what you have here, is a flush slide now. All right, so you want to take, at that point, you want to take your 2 S7 T-nuts here, okay? And if you flip over this plate, you will see 2 places on here on each side, left and right. Again, pretty much common sense. You can see that goes down in there, and you want the post sticking through the top. So you want the post sticking up towards the letter, okay? So from the bottom, you stick the post through just like that, okay? This is what your optic will sit down on and screw to, okay? You want to put those in there. Now, there's a lot going on with this. Some people may say, I'm not even going to bother with that. I mean, that's way too much trouble. And I get that if you were to say that. But I tell you, once this is in place, this is going to be a phenomenal, possibly one of the best, most secure mounting systems you're going to find. The only thing that I kind of have a gripe about is, number one, they did not include in the packaging the 5/64 Allen to remove those 2 screws, so you have to go find one. And also, I know that C&H makes a plate for staccato as well, and they integrate a rear sight into this thing, and there's plenty of real estate here to do that, and they did not. I'm just an old FUD, again, having an old FUD moment. I wish there would have been a rear sight integrated into that. I just love having my co-witnessing sights, but again, I understand it's a target model, okay? Race gun, competition gun, whatever. So in that case, I don't suppose it really matters. And so you have this raised area here on the bottom, as you can see, that'll fit right down into, or index into, that same spot on the slide here, the indention, if you will. And so that is just going to lay the plate up on there and kind of tilt it a little bit so those T-nuts don't come out, okay? That indexing down inside the slide like that is going to keep it from moving front to back and also from side to side. Add on top of that you're going to be throwing not 1, not 2, but 4 screws down into this optic plate, okay? This is going to be a super secure mounting system. This is not going to move side to side or front to back. And if the indexing point there was not enough, these 4 screws are certainly going to be enough torque to 20 pounds. It says to use a dollop of Loctite. Also, you will want to clean out. I'm not going to do that again for the sake of time, but all of these holes in the top, this threaded area, threaded holes in the top of the slide, you do want to take some alcohol, and the Q-tip is what I use to clean any oil or debris out of these holes. But what I typically do is I will just drop every single one of these screws. Again, it says use a dollop of Loctite, but these screws came from the factory with some Loctite on there, okay? And typically, again, what I would do, if I don't drop them all over the place, is I will just set all 4 of them in there, okay? Just kind of get them into place. All right, it's what I do whether I'm doing it on camera or not. Okay, and I would just kind of go crisscross applesauce, if you will, kind of like lug nuts on a tire. You know, I'll just start. I don't want to screw any one of them down all the way. I just don't do it. I don't think it's recommended to be done. Let me get my T10 here and put it in my wheeler. All right. So anyway, again, I'm just going to usually start here on the front and get this thing going. You will find some resistance because of the blue Loctite that is on there. And again, I just kind of go in a star pattern, if you will, just getting all of them started, and then I will just keep on doing that all the way around in the same star pattern until they bottom out. And once they do, and then you go ahead and torque it to your 20 inch-pounds. Again, I am not going to mount an optic on this today because I am going to shoot this gun with just the factory adjustable sight that came on it. So I don't want to put an optic on here and then have to take it back off. I just kind of hate doing that. So again, flush them all down. Every one of them gets flushed. All right. Then you set your torque screwdriver to 20 inch-pound. Hope this camera is not blurring out. Anyway, you set your torque screwdriver to 20 inch-pounds, and you torque each one of these screws to 20 inch-pounds. And then, of course, after that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Since these two studs are sticking up out of there, you have even more retention for your optic. So you have the index point up here in the front. You have 4 screws torqued to 20 inch-pounds. You have these 2 studs sticking out here and the 2 studs sticking out in the front. Man, that is really going to hold that optic into place. It's not going to move. And remember to clean out any grime, grease, or dirt in those holes before you insert your screws. And put your optic up here. If I don't need to tell you how to do that, if I do, you probably shouldn't be mounting an optic, but that's how it goes. And it's pretty easy after you kind of get through the initial, oh my God, I'm taking this whole adjustment screw out of my rear sight. Once you get past that and you know that nothing's going to go flying everywhere, it's really not that bad. So again, I'm going to put my adjustable rear sight back on here so that I can initially, during the initial range review, shoot it with my rear sight here, because it is I'm sure this is an expensive rear sight. So I want to use it, see how accurate it is with just the iron, since I can't do that with the optic mounted. And then I will mount my optic up here, and we will really dig into shooting this thing. So stay tuned for all of that. Again, the Kimber stainless 2K11 target OR mounting the optic plate. I hope that helps. Thanks so much for watching. Consider supporting us on the platforms that are available at Patreon, $5, $10 a month. I upload all the videos over there. There's no obligation. You can cancel at any time. And also, you can go over and check out our website at gsquaredtactical.com. Pick up some hats, cups, shirts. Have all kinds of stuff over there you can pick up. And you can also support the channel monetarily over there, one-time donation. And if you can't do that, be sure to subscribe. Set your alerts so that you know when a video is going up. And as always, to God only be the glory.